Okay, now we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us and continuing to stay engaged. If you haven't already, please take our survey. And September 28th will be our next meeting, and we're going to be hosting a live education session. We'll be playing a presentation about land use, zoning, and comprehensive planning, and we would love for you to join us. Details are on our page of the town website. You can find us under committees and councils. So with that, I will call the meeting to order. And our first quick order of business is I move to approve the minutes from our meeting on October 31st. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, fabulous. So we only have an hour on the agenda tonight. And I know Jane isn't going to be able to make it. So assuming Dan isn't going to be able to make it either, then we're looking at 45 minutes. So we will keep this short and sweet. Our first topic is update on our fabulous survey. So I will pass the mic, and I can also pass screen share if you want it to Larry, but no pressure.
I don't think it's necessary. And just a really quick update on the survey. I checked within the last 48 hours on the survey responses, and on the electronic responses, we were up to 520 responses. So the mailing has obviously helped. I think it's hard. We don't have a way to track what is triggering people to respond, but obviously the mailer went out in the last few weeks, and the last few weeks we had over 100 responses that came in the week that the survey went out, and slightly fewer the second week, but I would expect that they would continue to tick up. And other than that, it looks like most people are filling out the survey to completion. Most people are filling in the open-ended questions. And other than that, it takes, on average, I think it's been taking just under 6 minutes for the average respondent to fill out the survey, which includes some open-ended questions where you have to fill in the blanks. So I think it's, that's the stats that we should continue using to encourage people. It takes 5 minutes or less, and welcome them to fill it out. Other than that, I don't have anything else to update for the survey.
No problem.
And go right into the post office locations. I did check Walkabook over the weekend and South Salem, and we're continuing not to get much in the way of handwritten survey responses on the hard copies, but people do keep taking the surveys. So I do understand that they're getting returned in some other locations.
Okay. How about Golden's Bridge? Mark, have you checked that recently? Oh, you're on mute.
So there was nothing in the return envelope. The envelope with the returns was empty, and the envelope with the flyers was gone. So that's as of yesterday. So.
Okay, interesting conundrum. So I guess we just have to replace that.
So I can drop off another, envelope with surveys. I just wonder, are people taking them and dropping them off somewhere else, or taking them and looking at them and then scanning it instead? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting since that's happening. That's a trend. All right. Well, if you're able to replace the envelope that has the blank surveys this week, that would be fantastic, Mark.
Sure.
Kirsten can get you a new one that has the blanks in it. How about Cross River, Charlene?
Didn't have a chance, but do it this weekend. And I was having the same problem before as Mark. It just was empty and there was nothing there. So
Yeah.
I will check this week.
Okay. How about Vista, John?
We had 2 filled out surveys.
Yay.
The integrity of both envelopes is maintained.
Wow.
They're blank. I think putting a piece of tape on it was the trick.
Noted. Okay, tape for everyone.
Okay.
So there's still blank ones there. I checked this morning. There was no new ones after the 2 I turned in last week. So, but that's 2.
Yeah. And the envelopes were still there, which is fantastic.
Yep.
All right. We'll keep the post offices going a little bit longer. I do think we have to, pull the plug on that eventually, just because it's a lot of man hours for the volunteers to keep going back and forth. And so for now, we'll keep that going. If you ever can't get to your location, just let me know and I will figure out who can do it on your behalf. And Kirsten, thank you so much for continuing to do the planning office and the library and the townhouse. Is there anything you need from us to keep that going?
Tiny update, John's 2 made it to my office and I had one resident hand deliver hers today.
Nice.
So I'll get those scanned. I checked the townhouse and the library. Between the 2 sites, there was only one to pick up.
Okay. But as long as they're available and people can get to them if they want, that is fantastic. Okay, library fair, Larry. Thank you for the email update that you gave to everybody. It sounds like an awesome plan and we really appreciate your setting it up and coordinating, and I'll let you have the floor to talk about that.
Okay, well, in the interest of trying to keep everything short tonight, we will have a table. I'll make sure that we have a table and chairs at the library fair. I'll be prepared to be there starting at 10 a.m. We have a large sign that's basically using the postcard artwork that we'll have at the table, and I will have small pieces of note paper that has the QR code in the website in case people want to take the survey on their smartphone. And I'll also have a handful of paper copies just in case. And I'll be available to answer questions. And if anybody else on the committee is able to drop by and spend some time with me or take some time at the table to give me a break for lunch or whatnot, please do so. But I'll be prepared to be there at the library fair, which is from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. I believe at Onatru Park.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Larry. Does anybody?
Yeah, Larry, I'm planning to provide some relief. So
Yeah, that would be great.
do you have a preferred time, or I could just plan to meet you there at 10 to 12 and
Yeah,
10 to 1 and 10 to
there. And anybody else on the committee, you don't have to answer now, but if you would like to join us, just let me know approximately a time or just drop by.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's coordinate that over email just so you can plan if you are getting a break and lunch and all that good stuff. That sounds perfect. Any questions for Larry about the survey or the library fair? Okay. Let's see, next topic. Okay, update on RFP to consultant. So I will pass the mic to Charlene, but I did get word, and thank you to Dan and the board members that they have approved the RFP as the final draft stands. They've also approved the cover letter and the notice of publication, and they've authorized the town clerk to move forward with distribution, publication. So Charlene, I know you're busy during the workday, so tomorrow I'm gonna coordinate over email just to make sure that the clerk has all the stuff to send and the list of firms. And
And if you
then,
need anything from me, just give me a call.
okay. I
Okay?
think going down the list, I'm happy to help with this, but how should we do the getting it posted on the New York planning websites?
If you just post the letter, and the RFP, I'll see if I can do it. Let's do something offline and I'll see if I can do it from work.
Okay, between the two of us, we'll get
Yeah.
that done.
Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. And the rest, the town clerk's office will be
Yeah.
handling. Great.
I hear, I spoke to Peter that Thursday night and he said he approved it and everything went. He did say that I made a typo. It was me.
I think it's a pretty awesome document, and I know that a lot of work and a lot of eyeballs have been on it. We were
Yes.
slow, deliberate. We got input from a lot of different, the board members, the planning board, the architecture board, the what else am I missing? The zoning board,
Zoning. Mhm.
and a couple other important kind of key pieces.
Our planner, our attorney.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing Peter did mention in an email, he suggested if we could just loop Norma Drummond in.
I'll talk to Norma tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay. Just so she knows it's happening, and
I'll send her a whole package tomorrow.
okay, awesome. Okay, any questions for Charlene or about the RFP to the consultant? All right, then.
I have a comment.
Oh, sure.
Katie, you said that we were slow in preparing the RFP, but I think that should be corrected, or at least my comment would be that we're thorough and efficient, but I think we've been moving along very, very quickly as a team.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I definitely did not mean to imply that we were slow as in not efficient and forward moving. So thank you. That's a
Go
good
team.
Yeah, go team. We did a great job. We were thorough and process oriented.
I think Charlene did a phenomenal job on that, so.
We
Yeah.
all did. Thank you, Joe.
Bravo.
Yeah, bravo.
Yeah, we all did. A lot of eyes.
This is like a big milestone for us, because if the RFP goes out this week, the deadline for responses is November 15th. So, between now and then, we'll sort of have a little bit of a quiet period. But then after that, our work is really going to ramp up.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll all kind of enjoy a little bit of a breather, and then we'll get ready to go. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay, moving right along. Next topic. Mark, if you have any update on the Hudson River Valley Greenway Community Grant opportunity?
I had a good callback and sort of coaching session with one of the staffers as to what to include, and took a couple pages of notes about how to go about it. But the just to recap, it's a reimbursement grant. So the money's already to be spent. We have to show proof of funds and that we paid the vendors before, as one of the prerequisites. So just, we're going to have to go down the path of funding our RFP and look for this to be a reimbursement after the fact. That being said, due to COVID, the net of it is they coached against making application in the upcoming 2 rounds. Just strategically felt that they're expecting everybody to come back, that because of COVID and whatnot, where they sort of under allocated in the last round. He said there's a lot of pressure on the program in the next 2 rounds, and thought that the early 2022 round would be more strategic. Just because they're expecting, they had a very small offering at the last round, basically. And he thought, if you wanted to use it as a stalking horse to have practice with the application, that you could do that, but they didn't. And they did confirm that because Lewisboro had opted into the program early on, that we could apply separately for the two separate $10,000 grants, but only one would be for planning and the other could be for trail restoration or signage or something an actual implementation of infrastructure versus a planning. But again, he said I wouldn't. He thinks there's a lot of pressure on the program in the current upcoming round. So that's what I have on that.
That's great insight. Yeah.
Sure.
Really good to know. Okay, so I'm just going to move to the. Okay, so I'm going to put early 2022. And that, just to clarify, that is referring to the grant that could be up to 25,000 in matching. The one that we would apply for in early 2022?
Yes, I think it was 10,000, but you could apply for more. I don't know that it's 20,000. I think it was that you could apply for more than 10,000, but I had sort of a soft cap in my mind of 15.
Got it. Okay.
Did you get the feeling that if you got your application together, you could kind of get together with him and he'd give you some feedback?
Yes, I did. And then to your point at the last call, John, they do post all the towns that received and what they received. So that is public.
Okay, that gives you some clues, at least for the CFA, it gave me some clues. So.
Yep.
Right. Okay, well, what would you like us, the committee members, to do to support you? We can take it off the agenda and just kind of have it on the action item list in the background and circle back as we get a little closer. Or if you want, we can leave it on the agenda just to keep checking in and see how you're doing, but I leave that up to you, Mark, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, let's just keep it on the agenda for a prompt. And they did say that 10,000 is the likely cap.
Okay.
And that we can apply for both the open space inventory, that other grant. So when you were saying 20 or 20,000, that assumed we apply for both, but the compact grant would be for things like open space inventory, trail grants, other programs, conservation trail grants, etc. They typically award 35 grants each quarter, but last quarter they only awarded 4.
Wow.
So that was, part of the reasoning for, you said, the pressure on the grants.
Mm-hmm.
But they have 2. So there's the compact grant, which we could apply for open space inventory or something actionable other than planning. And there's the planning grant. And they felt that the planning grants were 5,000 to 10,000 range where you could expect to get funding.
We should probably contact like the trail group and see if they have any interest on their own of trying to go for the other grant. Do you know if the town has applied for this before?
Yes, and we didn't get it.
Do you know who drove it?
Tony Concalves.
So I would spend a little time with him because he was helpful to me on the CFA grant.
Okay. Yeah, so our point of contact there is Daniel Jeanson, Hudson Greenway.
Great.
So yeah, it was great, and he gave me his phone number, so it was great to sort of break through the email wall and have a contact that we can follow up with.
Thank you so much for getting that insight so quickly, Mark. That's awesome.
And then I sent you an outline. I don't know if you want to jump ahead or wait, just on that project for public spaces. I mean, I don't know if it's too urban or
I didn't see
appropriate, but
I didn't see something come through.
yeah, I had a little trouble with my email. I just resent it.
Oh, okay.
And the bottom line is they have, I was trying to find what they could do for us that would be helpful. And I sent you their abstract,
Okay.
just the 4-page abstract of programs. They like to they like paid for service, and they welcome us into their offices for a few days of training. Barring that, the cheap and cheerful approach would be the basic thing they would have for us is a 1-hour webinar, and we pick from an appropriate topic. And what I sent to you suggested that maybe the appropriate topic is a pre-canned training session called no, that's not the one. It's called Placemaking 101, the basics. Learn the basics of placemaking from its origins to contemporary process. Basics include an overview of Power of 10 framework and our lighter, quicker, cheaper approach to design. Participants will learn about the various approaches to placemaking: creative, strategic, transformative, etc. Key strategies to equitably transform public spaces. So
Interesting.
anyway, that's a starting point, but that would be like a 1-hour webinar. But they have other prepackaged things like inclusive engagement, placemaking for innovation districts, government operations, how to develop a case study, placemaking at the city scale, which is probably not for us, and identifying strengths and weaknesses of your community in the public realm to create a local inspiration, and assessing connectivity between public destinations. So,
Okay.
anyway, take a look at it. I find it interesting, but maybe it's too urban for us.
Okay. Did they clarify if they would be a candidate?
No, yeah, they wouldn't do planning. They
Okay.
wouldn't do. They don't do planning. No.
Okay, so we're not going to send the RFP.
Right.
to them.
Right.
Okay, got it. All right, yeah, then let's all look at that over email, and we can talk about it just in the context of our ongoing public education sessions. Any questions for Mark about the grant or the project for public spaces idea? Okay, thanks, Mark.
Sure.
Excuse me. Okay, so next topic, the education sessions. So the first one is at our next meeting on the 28th. And I think that's going to be really great. It's an hour and 9 minutes, but I'm going to watch it ahead of time and see if there's any intro or extra stuff that I can cut out to get it to be about an hour. But it's a really good, just general overview. What is planning? What is zoning? What is land use? From a legal perspective, and the presenter is a lawyer who is not associated with any consulting firm. So that'll be great. And in terms of keeping those going, I'll be curious to see how many live views we get on YouTube. Right now, our meetings, the past couple, have gotten about 20 views total. So it'll be interesting to see if we get 20 or more folks tuning in live. We can't make the recording available after the fact for copyright reasons. But we'll see how it's received. We're advertising with the town in the town newsletter, on the website, the town, the supervisor's Facebook post. So we'll see. And then we can kind of go from there. I know we have an active list in our Google Drive under communications. Yes, education series. There's a document there. If you ever find a YouTube video that's interesting or have an idea you want to just add to the document, I've got some links and some ideas on there, but I think we can kind of see how the next one goes and then pick a date for the next and just, adjust accordingly. If the presentation, the lecture presentation doesn't attract an audience, then we can kind of adjust from there. But I don't think any of us have seen the presentation so it'll be a really nice opportunity for us next week also to kind of all listen and be able to get that training on the job as well. Any questions or thoughts or comments? Okay. So I'm gonna give the floor to Dan, just if he has any perspectives from the town board he'd like to share, or comments or discussion. And then don't let me then forget to talk about our next meeting's schedule after that. So Dan, the floor is yours.
Okay, not too much, just congratulations again on the RFP. Everyone was really excited to reach that milestone and get it out there. And, once we start getting stuff back and the idea of starting to have some initial meetings with these guys, and that's all very exciting. Just note that I've been really swamped over the past few weeks, so I'm kind of not very much going on, engage with you guys, but I'm still interested in trying to see if we can get a greenhouse gas inventory together as an adjunct to this so that it can be used as a supporting piece of evidence and document to support the plan. So that's something I'd like the sustainability committee to pitch in on if they could. And this upcoming event sounds very fun, and so we should all help out pushing that out. And the Greenway Compact people, I actually approached them a couple of years ago as well, thinking that maybe they could fund something around the rail trail concept that we have at Golden's Bridge. But at the time they had said that it wasn't, it didn't fit their, whatever they were looking for. So we didn't get anywhere. But if I think what you guys are working on has a shot, though. Other than that, nothing else.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for your engagement and for being, part of the process. And thank you to Jane, who's out there.
Yeah.
And to the rest of the board. We really appreciate it. Okay, so does anybody have any questions for Dan or thoughts or comments while he has the floor? Okay, great. So before we talk about action items, I just wanted to check in. We've got September 28th on the books, but then when we look at October, if we kept up with the every other week structure, then we're going to run into planning board meeting. So I'm thinking that again, that the calm before the storm of the RFP season, and that we don't have a ton of open business that would need to be addressed together, that we could probably just have one meeting in October, on October 26th. I'm seeing Charlene's nodding. Any objections to that? Okay. And if we need to have more email traffic or have an ad hoc little meeting or something, we can always do that. But okay, so let's plan on that. And depending on the response for the education session, we could always plan for one of those on a different night of the week if necessary in October. But we'll feel it out. Okay, so we've got our next 2 meetings on the books. So I'm just gonna scroll down here, look at the action items. If anybody has any comments or thoughts about any open action items, go for it.
What's our strategy on assembling the Hamlet subcommittees and, establishing connectivity with them?
Mhm.
Are we looking for Hamlets to appoint a spokesperson, or how are we going to do that?
So that will all be part of phase 2, the community engagement phase of the project, which we won't be starting until the consultant is hired and on board. And I think we'll take some direction from them on, what the most efficient way is to do that, what's worked with other projects in the past. But we definitely want to make sure that all of Lewisboro knows that we want them to continue to stay engaged, and that kind of engagement, the forming of subcommittees and participation in live or virtual events, like that's all coming down the line. So if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions about how we can just keep that in the back of folks' minds that it's coming, that would be great. Charlene, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I think what you said, Katie, is exactly right. We have a interesting issue. We have named a number of hamlets, some of which are self-identified as hamlets, but do not fit the traditional definition of a hamlet. So I would really want to discuss that with whatever consultant we choose to see how do we handle that. What's the best way of presenting it to the hamlets, and just how do we deal with it? Because obviously we have self-identified hamlets, which are not really hamlets. So that's my position on it.
Mm-hmm. John?
Yeah, and we need to, when we're starting to do these committees, look broader than just hamlets. I mean, we're going to have some topics identified that are going to be important to the town going forward that are, not just hamlets, but how we're going to live in this strange new world.
Yeah. Agreed, John. Agreed.
Yeah. I think the RFP does a really good job of highlighting that the public engagement is going to be so crucial, and that the hamlets are one way to break out different groups of residents, but there are all kinds of civic organizations and other resident groups that are organized around topic areas or locations. And that, we're really looking for the expertise of the consultants to tell us, what works in terms of organizing these groups and making sure that all residents have an equal opportunity to provide feedback.
And I'm assuming that the survey is going to point us in certain directions too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another dividing line could be the fire districts, that we have 3 of those.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be, if you're not available to go to the Vista South Salem night, you're only available to go to the Golden's Bridge night, so be it. But you can kind of make those divisions without relying on the hamlet idea.
People even know what fire district they're in.
If they pay their property tax, they do.
Well,
Throwing it out there.
if you read the form or just look for the number of the check you got to send.
Any other thoughts or questions about this topic or other open action items?
Not really related to the logistics of this, but in early dialogue, we talked about, updating infrastructure and what are some of the things that are contemplated in a master plan, generally speaking, land use. The woman who's running for Kitley Koval's position, the Westchester County legislator, this weekend said that Westchester and the state have been starting to adopt community septic system plans, and that's going to be something that'll be allowable at the health department level for development. So I want to learn a little bit about that, because that opens up a different approach to land conservation, which what it means is clustered housing. Could be something we could have in our town. Cluster housing allows for aggregating or grouping developments to create sort of tight neighborhoods of homes or townhouses or condos, and protecting larger tracts of open space that would be, for example, contiguous with other open space, so you don't fragment the land and have a development of 100 houses on 1 acre lots, and each one has their own septic system and swimming pool and so forth. But community septic systems are monitored, so there's some reporting and oversight, but they can be located remotely, allowing you to separate land use and the developable lots from the septic requirement.
Charlene, I don't know if you remember seeing this. I think it was before you joined the planning board, but I think the one on Lockwood was talking about trying to get smaller lots and some open common space. Of course, that one has been sitting going nowhere for about 3 or 4 years, but that's the only one I know going forward where there is some discussion of something like that.
Well, I know that the health department, because Kitley spoke about it too before Erica, the health department are developing newer regulations. The county is also looking at sewer consolidation, which will be part and parcel of any kind of different sewer methods. But they have not been developed as of yet, and they're not out. That is something that the consultants can really sort of gather that kind of information and give to us. And I think they'll be better able to sort of tell us what the trends are.
I mean, I'm assuming that the handful of townhouse developments in town have something like that. So, I mean, we know
That too,
we
right.
know Oak Ridge, it's
Yeah.
comes up all the time, but I would assume the other ones do as well.
So anyway, just kind of interesting for, it might inform some of our land use options going forward. So I thought that was kind of interesting to hear about.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, any other general stuff? Questions on action items?
Just one item. I don't think we added too much in the way of additional information on the committee's page, the town website. I'd like to take a crack at putting together an outline on that.
Oh, thank you. Like
Yeah.
the sort of an FAQ section.
Yeah, maybe informally when we're at the library fair with Mark and Kirsten, maybe we can chat about that, take some notes. But But in any case, I'll take a stab at putting an outline together
Okay, awesome.
and
Thanks,
share
Larry.
that offline. Thanks.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm happy to help with that too. That has been on the list and hasn't made it to fruition yet. So thanks for picking up on that. Okay, anything else? I think we're at a record here, but this is good. We knew it was going to be a short meeting. It's short and sweet. We got our business done. And so our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, September 28th. And we'll start right away at 7:30 with the educational portion of the meeting. And we'll just have a quick check-in on some action items afterwards before we sign off. And then October 26th after that. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, we've got a lot accomplished in the time we've been working together, and everybody has been so amazing at contributing and collaborating. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Go team. I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. See you soon.
thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.